The first thing I noted about these watercolor pens is that they do not have color labels, so I use whatever colors that look nearest to the ones I need. But if you don't have brush pens, using watercolors would be an even better idea for this painting. So I wet the head and shoulder area of the bird with the water brush, avoiding the eyes. I then start with a color that looks like turquoise blue and blend it out. I then follow that with what looks like an ultramarine blue and dab it on the edges of the bird's head and blend that out too. Then I work on the front wing. I wet it, and using what looks like a bright hummingbird type of leafy green, I paint long thin strokes for the upper part of the wings nearest the body. Next, I wet the belly of the bird and paint short diagonal strokes for the feathers using a color that looks like ultramarine blue. I also blend that color out so that a light blue wash also covers the belly of the bird. After wetting the remaining parts of the bird's front wing, I paint in long thin strokes using the same blue. Here, I leave gaps between the strokes so that I can blend them out. I then move on to the bird's lower body and tail. After wetting them down, I pick a bright red and use long strokes for the tail feathers and the body. Towards the end of the body, I use a bright yellow and blend it in an upward motion towards the green. I avoid painting the center of the body because if I did, the bird would look flat. I go back in with the turquoise blue and ultramarine blue and stipple markings on the bird's head, neck and cheeks. I then work on the tail again, which is now dry, with an even darker plum red to add depth to the bird's tail. I add more detail to the end of the bird's wing, which is also dry, using the ultramarine blue and a viridian type of green to add details to the leaf green part of the wings, if that makes any sense. I now work on the visible part of the back wing using the same blues as before. I use the black for the eye, carefully leaving a white highlight showing, and a fluorescent pink for the beak. I then try the wet on wet technique to paint various flowers around the bird. For this I use pinks, reds and plum reds, and I use various greens for the stalks of the flowers and the leaves. When I put the colour of the flowers down, I immediately wet it so that it runs a little and then add a darker tone using a darker colour. I don't have a specific flower in mind, I just wanted them to look like the heads are drooping so that the bird can drink from the nectar. Unfortunately, these watercolour pens are not the best because they don't blend as well as I would have liked them to. They also don't come with colour labels, which means you have to go by eye. And the tips are far too flexible, making it hard to control the marks you make on paper. I think this bird would have come out really nicely with watercolour paints. So I urge you to have a go and let me know how you get on. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, let me know what you think in the comments section, and please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.